What's up YouTube, it's your boy Oxal here today with a crazy good MAC10 build that could make it the best SMG in the game. We got a lot of new content with the Season 1 update and the MAC10 came right along with it. It's available for use for free once you reach Battle Pass level 15. But because of the update, I'm probably gonna have to update my top 5 best weapons list video since the MAC10 is just way too good at close range combat. The time to kill is short and it has a high fire rate which makes it easy to use, and although the insane fire rate gives it crazy recoil, as soon as you learn how to control it, the MAC10 will definitely reward you. As you can imagine, it's a good idea to lower the recoil as much as possible using attachments, that way there's not as much to compensate for. Thankfully the MAC10 almost has no horizontal recoil since that's a lot harder to compensate for, so you can definitely tame this weapon. Now let's look at the recoil. This clip is going to be from 15 meters away and it's going to have no attachments, so that way you can see what we have to compensate for with attachments and with recoil control. As you just saw in that clip, this will definitely be a gun that you're going to need to learn how to use, and it's not going to be easy. At least it is a spray hose because of the fire rate when combined with a magazine that lowers the reload speed. Now I will say it's not very good at longer range fights because of the low bullet velocity that it has, the low damage and the high recoil, which is just how Treyarch decided to balance the weapon. Don't even think about using it for ranges further than 20 meters, and if you do, make sure your recoil control is tight as it will take 7 bullets for a kill. But yet, even with such downsides, I will still categorize the MAC10 as the best SMG in the game right now because some machine guns are meant to be used in close combat situations and this excels at that. Now I would say it's definitely overpowered, better than the AK-74U. And even if you don't think it's objectively the best gun in the game, I at least have had the most fun in Cold War by using the MAC10. Now I do think it could be a good candidate for a nerf in the next patch or so try to use it before then. With that being said, let's go to the raw stats, for which I have to thank Exclusive Ace for making his stats sheet public, and I'll make sure to link his Google Doc in the description if you're interested. When you're at max damage range, you're going to be doing 27 damage per bullet. At the minimum damage range, you're going to be doing 22. This means it'll take 6 shots to kill at the max damage range, while you take 7 shots to kill at any range further than that. The MAC10 does have the fastest RPM in the game, clocking it at an impressive 1111 rounds per minute, which means it's a bullet hose, is extremely forgiving, and although it is forgiving, we'll still need to include a larger magazine for this class. The time to kill at the max damage range is only 270 milliseconds, and at the minimum damage range is only 324 milliseconds. That puts the MAC10 very close to the AK-74U when it comes to time to kill, but because the MAC10 has such a high fire rate, almost anybody could use it as long as they can control the recoil a little bit and do really well with it. The largest setback for this weapon is definitely the slow bullet velocity, which clocks in at 200 meters per second, so we're definitely gonna need to improve that. With all that said, let's get to the attachments. First of all, the iron sights on the MAC10 are actually really good, so I don't really like including any optics. The agency suppressor is definitely the best muzzle that I could find for the MAC10. It keeps you off the radar while helping with the recoil control, which is extremely important for us to land shots on target, as you just saw from that recoil clip. For the barrel slot, I actually tested out just about every single barrel available for the weapon, and through all that testing I came to the conclusion that the 6.1 inch reinforced heavy barrel is definitely the best barrel to use, or at the very least it definitely felt like the best barrel out of the rest. I know some people prefer the 5.3 Ranger barrel since it increases the bullet velocity by 40 meters per second more than the 6.1 inch reinforced heavy barrel, but I feel like extending the maximum damage range by a few meters is way more helpful than the extra 40 meters per second of bullet velocity that you get with the 5.3 Ranger barrel. Out of all the other ones, it's definitely in between these two barrels, the 5.3 inch Ranger barrel and the 6.1 inch reinforced heavy barrel. So I think the best idea is for you guys to test them both out, as this one is a little bit more preference based. But I'm going to say that the 6.1 inch reinforced heavy barrel is definitely the best one because of the range buff, and it's only 40 meters per second slower than the 5.3 inch Ranger barrel. As far as the underbarrel, hands down the field agent grip is the best attachment that you're possibly gonna get. It mitigates that vertical recoil, which is gonna help us tremendously when it comes to a gun like this. And it'll also help a little bit with the horizontal recoil that it has that is really hard to account for when you're physically compensating for the recoil. The MAC10's fire rate is crazy, so the magazine attachment is extremely important. And we're going to be using the Salvo 53 round fast mag for that one. This magazine will decrease our reload time to somewhere around 870 milliseconds, And the 53 rounds are extremely helpful since the fire rate is ridiculous. On the handle slot, I love to use the airborne elastic wrap as with most guns because of the aim down sight time reduction, the flinch resistance, and the ability to drop shot. It's just too good, this is a staple. We included a total of 2 recoil mitigating attachments, which means that the MAC10 will be much easier to control now. So let's check it out, fully kitted out in this next clip. Note that I did take off the magazine to make sure I only shoot 32 bullets and make the comparison in between the before and after a little bit more accurate. And just like last time, this is from 15 meters away without controlling any of the recoil. Now that's much better, right? Let's compare with the before on the left and the after on the right. As you can tell, that difference is huge, so after all those attachments, all that is left is for you to control the recoil that is left over, and it just becomes a killing machine. In summary, the MAC10 is without a doubt one of the most powerful weapons in the game right now. That's because it's extremely forgiving because it has the highest fire rate that we can get on an SMG, so if you miss a shot or two, it wouldn't really be noticeable. This means that as long as you can compensate for the recoil, the MAC10 will make an average player quite a bit better when it comes to time to kill. All of these traits really make me think that it could get nerfed soon if Treyarch notices some weird numbers, but in the meantime all we can do is use it as much as possible to get those camos before it gets nerfed, if it gets nerfed of course. My main recommendation when it comes to using the gun is not to use the MAC10 at any range further than 20 meters, because at that point it'll just take way too long to get a kill. And in that time frame, whoever you're shooting would normally have enough time to turn around and finish you off. Now for the rest of the class, for the secondary I love to use a Sigma 2 launcher, with a stim shot for my tactical, a Semtex on my lethal equipment slot, and the field mic for the field upgrade. I'm in between the field mic and the jammer, so it's really up to you on that one. For the wildcards, I love to use perk greed. I really don't feel like most guns need 8 attachments, so I always stick with 5 as having 3 extra perks is a lot more valuable to me. And the perks that I like to use are Flak Jacket, because on the objective based game modes that I like to play there's just too many grenades flying around. Tac Mask for the same reason. Scavenger because you always need some ammo, especially with a gun like the MAC10, you're gonna run out of ammo very quickly. Quartermaster to be able to stim shot quicker, Ghost to not appear on the radar, and Ninja so that people can't hear you as much. I hope this build does you well, drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and get those camos. Owl out.
Gunship standing by. We've lost the hard point.